Since the transfer portal opened this offseason, we've seen some of the top names in college football enter and find new destinations. I had the opportunity to cover a lot of these guys this season, including John Mateer at Washington State, Zachariah Branch at USC. So in this video, I'm going to break down all those players that I covered this year, where they're headed, their remaining eligibility, and the fit that I think they'll have at their new program. USC quarterback Miller Moss is transferring to Louisville. He's a guy I like to compare to Aiden O'Connell, Purdue quarterback back in 2022. And guess what? They're going to have the same head coach. Jeff Brom coached the Boilermakers back then. He's the Louisville head coach now. In his career at USC, Miller Moss threw for nearly 3,500 yards, had 27 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and he is a true pocket passer. In his total career at USC, he only scrambled 3 times. Moss attempted 40 passes per game this year at USC with an average depth of target of 7.6 yards. It's very similar to how O'Connell played at Purdue. He averaged 42 passes per game with an average depth of target of 6.8 yards. That season, Aiden O'Connell had 3,200 passing yards with 22 touchdowns, and the way Jeff Brom's offense utilizes space, spreads the field, and also uses the pass game as an extension of the run game is what made him really effective. I think Miller Moss can do the same thing at Louisville in his final year of eligibility. Washington State quarterback John Mateer averaged 330 total yards of offense per game this season. That was 4th most in the country. He averaged 7.55 yards per play, finishing the year with 3,200 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He also had 826 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns on the ground. Mateer is transferring to Oklahoma, where he's going to be an SEC starting quarterback, but more importantly, he'll be reunited with Ben Arbuckle. That was his offensive coordinator in Pullman. He has the same job title now in Norman. He's going to be calling plays for the Sooners. It's a perfect fit in Norman. With 2 years of eligibility remaining, the offense is going to get that spark it needs. Michigan quarterback Alex Orji is transferring to UNLV. He's going to play for Dan Mullen, the new head coach of the Rebels. He's joining the quarterback room that also contains Virginia quarterback transfer Anthony Calandria. Orji played in 20 games for the Wolverines over 3 seasons. He had 3 starts this year at quarterback. He threw 3 touchdowns, had 2 interceptions, but he's most impactful as a runner. This season alone, he had 38 designed run attempts and 10 scrambles. He's going to have 2 years of eligibility remaining in Las Vegas, and I think he's going to be used in a similar way on that offense, a situational quarterback with an impact on the run game. Justin Martin was a 4-star in the class of 2022, committed to UCLA. He's from Los Angeles. He's now transferring across the country to play at Maryland. Martin played in 3 games this season, including a start on the road at Penn State. He finished that game 22 of 30. That's 73%, had a touchdown and 167 passing yards. At 6'4", 220, Martin has the ideal quarterback frame. I still think has a tremendous upside. I think he's going to start next season at Maryland. MJ Morris and Billy Edwards both transferred out. Malik Washington joined the Terrapins this offseason as well. I think Martin has a chance to win that job. Moving to the wide receiver position, Zachariah Branch is transferring from USC to Georgia. He sprung onto the scene as a true freshman in his first game against San Jose State. 232 all-purpose yards. That included a 96-yard kickoff return touchdown, 66 punt return yards, 58 receiving yards, and 12 rushing yards. He finished that season at USC with over 1,100 all-purpose yards and 5 touchdowns. And this season as a sophomore, he had 700 all-purpose yards, but only found the end zone once at wide receiver. I think Georgia is going to continue to utilize him both as a return man and as a wide receiver in that offense. He and his brother both transferring to Athens. Zion is a safety. USC is losing another former 5-star recruit at wide receiver, Deuce Robinson. He was the number 1 player at his position out of high school, a top 20 player overall, and he's transferring to Florida State. He was impactful for the Trojans this season with 5 touchdowns, 400 receiving yards, an average of 17 yards per catch. He's joining an offense that's now run by Gus Malzahn in Tallahassee. He'll have 2 seasons of eligibility with the Noles. Another USC wide receiver is on the move. Kyron Hudson is transferring to Penn State. He had 462 receiving yards on 38 catches this season with 3 touchdowns. He has 8 career receiving touchdowns and 800 yards. He'll have 1 final year of eligibility with Drew Aller and a lot of that Nittany Lion offense returning. UCLA receiver J. Michael Sturdivant is transferring to Florida for 1 year of eligibility. He started his career at Cal, has over 1,600 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns. He'll play with DJ Lagway in that Gators offense. Moving to running back and moving back to USC, where the team's second leading running back, Quentin Joyner, is transferring to Texas Tech. He had nearly 500 yards on the ground this season, averaging 8 yards per carry and had 3 touchdowns. He's going to have 3 years of eligibility in Lubbock. Michigan running back Tavir Dunlap is transferring to Eastern Michigan for his final year of eligibility. He played 4 seasons for the Wolverines, a former 4-star in the class of 2021. He had 138 rushing yards and a touchdown. Northwestern cornerback Theran Johnson is transferring to Oregon for 1 year of eligibility. He's played in 23 games for the Wildcats. He had 10 pass breakups this season that led the team. Also 2 interceptions, 53 tackles. He started every game each of the last 2 seasons.